Welcome to a very special episode of Spark of Madness.
Yes.
There's a stranger here on the couch with us.
Cheers.
Completely covered up by coffee.
Completely covered up by coffee by trying to cheers.
Yeah. This is Jake, everybody. He's been on the podcast before. What have you been on?
I was on a few of the early ones about creativity.
And no, we did a big one.
A big one?
What was the other one? Better Call Saul.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about Better Call Saul.
One of the early live ones, yeah.
Yeah. And
I wasn't there for that.
It was a good finale.
Aaron,
nobody likes
are you in black and white still?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I be?
All right. So we're going to do maybe the worst movie we've ever reviewed.
I think.
I bet I could beat it, but for now, it's the worst.
Okay. That'll be the new rule. Try to beat how terrible this movie. Yeah.
We're going to review Death Note, which was released to Netflix, which I think we can kind of talk about that sort of model, I guess. But we actually all tried to watch it together over the weekend. How was that experience, Ben?
No. So this movie drives you to drink a lot.
And we did.
And we did. Yeah, so we got together on Saturday, tried to watch it, and luckily it was Netflix, so we got to pause and rewind because there was quite a bit of let's just say it didn't hold our attention in addition to the alcohol. But who wants to take a stab at explaining what this movie is about?
Not me.
Oh, I would love to do this. Okay,
good.
As the guest of honor on this one.
You
all right?
The unenviable position.
Unenviable position. I'm a very big fan of the anime, which is how I got involved in being part of this podcast. So the story is that there is a Death Note, which is a notebook dropped randomly from the other world, the world of the spirits, where death is from. And death in this case is a Shinigami, a Japanese version of death.
Easy
and
there,
it lands
Dexter.
for one student to find. And this student in the anime has a lot of awesome qualities.
Yeah, I think so. Just to piggyback a little, I'm with Jake in knowing the anime, and it's going to be. I think we're going to have to make a conceited effort to both bring up the the differences, but also what they did. What direction they went with for the movie versus the entire series, which is 40 episodes.
That is a very good point. So I'll just stick to it. Basically falls to a student in the movie who is bullied and kind of weak and has needs for justice, right? And if you write a name into this notebook, that person will die. There are a series of rules around it. And the Shinigami, the death character, Ryuk, kind of eggs on the rules of what he considers to be a game.
William Dafoe.
Virginia. Which we also discovered.
We need to talk about that, actually.
Okay,
before
this is good. This is a good moment.
That was one of the funniest
I'm
realizations.
rooting for this guy.
So I'm sure this has happened before. You had to have done the Virginia quote, at least during what was the movie that he was in? Oh, John Wick. We had to have done the Virginia
Yes, we
quote.
did.
Yes, we did.
And Aaron and I have been just playing along with Ben the whole time, doing like Virginia. Like we know what that
Virginia.
was. And we just learned because we had no idea what that was referencing. And what is that movie?
From John Carter of Mars.
John Carter of Mars, everybody. The movie no one saw.
Except for this guy.
And so we all were
And
blind.
again, and again
following.
he saw it.
I can't believe that.
Yeah,
I
it's
could
a
believe.
good
I thought it
movie.
would be like some Willem Dafoe
It's
classic.
a good
Right.
movie, Matthew.
I assumed it was like
See it.
I
See
thought- I
it,
assumed it was like
Spider-Man.
Antichrist or one of those art noir films he was in. That just
No.
Yeah.
Virginia.
John Carter.
we're already spinning off.
Anyways,
So there's a notebook that kills people, right?
Notebook that kills people. Willem Dafoe. He's
Is a
Ryuk.
demon with spiky spikes.
Spikes.
That's it.
He
He's
turns it
basically
into a game.
reoccurring the Green Goblin again.
Yeah.
And again.
It is kind of like the Green Goblin, and they kind of want to exact justice. They want to kill all the wrong people in the world, but from the premise, you can tell that that's going to have some problems because who's right, who's wrong, who gets to judge, and
Philosophy.
yada yada. Philosophy is what it was supposed to tackle, and instead it tackled my expectations.
Bam. Hey.
Heyo.
Like a moth to the flame.
So I think we'll explore it a little bit more as we go.
Yeah.
But I think let's start with what I anticipate is going to be our shortest segment of Good, Bad, the Ugly.
Yeah, let me hit the graphic.
Yeah,
I paid way too
hit
much
your
money
cool
for this.
thing that you spent a lot of time on.
Yeah.
Be longer than the good.
There we go.
That's just beautiful.
Aaron, why don't you start with a
Please
good?
don't make me.
Because I'm kind of limited, so by the time I don't want to take anybody's.
It's probably better that I go first and no one steals mine.
Yeah.
I liked the Shinigami character, and that was it.
Ryuk.
And I only liked him because it was Willem Dafoe.
Literally.
That's correct.
And whoever was making this movie knew
Yeah.
that was the only way.
Go back to the angle of view. I'm gonna do one of the scenes, or one of my favorite parts is when it's
true.
All this. You can't hear me.
Hide
Here
yourself.
we go. His dad. Remember when his dad comes into the room?
Yep.
And then he leaves, and you just see the door, and then all of a sudden Ryuk goes.
I mean, he does.
That's classic.
He's not doing justice, guys. He does a full step. He is there, jeans and all. Just
Yeah, he's wearing.
he is literally
like
wearing
biker
jeans.
clothes
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
that are just kind of spray painted on.
Yeah. So that was interesting.
Shark bait.
Okay, that was.
Platoon.
Yeah. So
Have you seen my movies?
Willem Dafoe,
Boondock Saints.
he is a good. He just is inherently a good. So
Yeah,
him being in this film,
I
was
guess
a
they
good.
did like a. I saw clips of him doing motion capture for it, but I can't imagine
That's an
they
actor,
actually
right?
did that.
Right. I mean, the amount of
That was an actual person that they
Right.
then superimposed
Yeah.
a face onto.
That's
You think they did
ridiculous.
digital face to it?
So they did a digital face on top of
A full
another
costume.
person motion capture.
You think so? It was a pretty articulate animatronic, if it was.
Yeah. I actually kind of didn't like Ryuk's the
appearance.
face of
Oh,
him.
I love the face.
But I'm coming from watching the series.
neither
Yeah.
Ben or I have seen
And you guys liked it?
Japanese cartoons.
I liked it.
I
Okay.
thought it was decent.
You like the
I'll give it
film
credit then.
overall.
No, the face
okay,
of
okay.
Ryuk.
The face of Ryuk. Okay.
I thought he was cool looking. I thought he had a Jim Henson quality to it a little bit. I thought.
They did a good job with his. I liked his spikes, and I liked what they did with his glowing eyes a lot.
Yeah.
And how they used that to sort of cue you in that
Yeah.
something's in the background. But once that and they did a good job with the effects of his face.
Right.
That but it just I don't know, it looked kind of weird.
His mouth wasn't that off-putting. It was hard to do that mouth from the beginning, so the fact that it didn't just appall me that's
That's
impressive
true.
on the team.
That's
you
true.
know what I mean?
I looked at the manga, just like images of it,
Yeah.
and it seems like these characters just have dead eyes.
Yeah.
they're all like dead eyes like this.
Like they kind of look off.
Yeah,
Just 2 seconds.
yeah. I don't know if I don't know if I'm a fan of that.
He's supposed to be it's supposed to be creepy, but not
like Neil Gaiman.
like immediately scary.
Right.
I guess.
It's more
But,
unsettling.
but all the
Yeah.
characters
Yeah.
had that though. All the
Right.
characters had
But
that.
that's the thing
true.
is this whole thing
That's
is
true.
supposed to be unsettling, play with your moral conscience, like really dig
Yeah,
in there rather than be scary or action packed.
I like that aspect of it where it's like, what is right? Like, what is rightful killing?
I would love if we got to dwell on that in the film, but we really
yeah.
didn't.
So the series plays that much better. I will say one good I did have was the montage they showed of him like kind of killing a handful of people like in different, like playing up the Kira vibe. I guess I
It
thought
was
they
weird
did
when-
that pretty well.
Yeah, but it was weird when they played the up music when they did it.
What?
Do-do-do-do-do. It's a joke. They didn't.
Oh.
I'm just being really dry.
Oh man.
Yeah. You're never the dry one.
Much longer.
You're never the dry one.
I'm turning over a new leaf, Spider-Man.
What about the airplane?
All right, Ben. What was it good? You
What's
had?
another good?
Ryuk's spikes. No.
We love.
Let me think about this.
All right.
Jake, did you have one?
Here,
Oh, you got
I
one?
got one.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. It was free to watch on Netflix.
I do want to talk about that, actually.
It
It has nothing to do with how good this
I
movie
didn't
was.
pay
Right,
extra
right.
for it.
Okay.
Like, what do you think? Have you watched many Netflix movies?
I
Any-
haven't, but
any of you
series.
guys?
I haven't.
Like a movie. That
I
they
only
produced.
watched
many
series.
movies, mostly.
The only one I've
series.
seen that was a movie was Beasts of No Nation, which was awesome.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah,
the movies
no-
aren't as strong.
They're original. That's
Yeah.
kind of where I'm going. It's
Yeah.
like they're just trying to do it to convince people to stay at home.
Yeah,
and
I'll tell
just
you
go
what.
to Netflix.
They are the ones that signed that multi-Adam Sandler deal that turned
Oh,
into,
God.
So here's the thing: Beast of No Nation wasn't so amazing. I forgot it was a Netflix
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
I have it in my mind that it was Amazon. Actually, I almost said that, but that was a
the only
great
one I
film,
can
and
think
that's
of.
the only one that
Yeah.
stands out.
Well, maybe. How much money did they make How much money did they have to make this movie, Matt? Do you know?
I didn't print it off, but I remember it was $40 million.
That's kind
That's a pretty good budget.
That's
I
a
thought.
pretty good
That's a pretty
hunk of
good
change to.
I was.
$10
Did they shot
from
it?
half the people in the U.S. every month.
Yeah.
Well, here's where I think they went wrong with this particular movie,
Okay.
and this is not ugly.
Okay.
The director is not that good, and the actors were terrible.
Oh yeah.
We'll
They're
get
bad.
to that.
We'll
That's
get-
the bad.
That's
We're
for
trying to do
sure.
the
Yeah.
good. We're trying
I
to
mean,
do the good.
I would say the director was bad, the actors were bad, the story was butchered, but I thought it was shot really well.
It was shot really well.
You took my next one.
Hey, hold on.
Well, go ahead, talk about it.
Okay, you talk about it.
I thought some of the cinematography was competent.
Yeah.
Competent.
I'm with you too. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, like I'm so sick. I'm so sick of this gray color grading.
That's
It's
true.
like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So here's the difference. You got Tim Burton, who not only is it like a gray, like you create a gray, black and white,
Yeah.
feel to it. The costumes are designed that way too. Everything in that whole
It all
world designed to it.
fits.
Yeah. So it's not like this. It just didn't fit.
It's like you
Right.
went to art school or something.
I hate that. I just like color.
Give me some color.
Virginia.
Like I would think the best shot and probably my favorite scene that they handled was when all the FBI agents walk
Gonna
off.
nail it.
All right.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna
Go ahead.
name that.
Because
That
like
was-
I thought it's so really their best scenes are when it was montage with it was like a music video with music playing over
like
it.
an
Yeah,
episode of
something.
Scrubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So,
an episode of Scrubs. Exactly.
Like that's the easiest to do
Yeah,
because
it
there's no
is easy.
dialogue to fuck
Right.
up.
You just have to pick the right music. You have to, yeah. And there were some poor music choices in this, but I will say the FBI scene was incredible. What I loved about it is it actually did take some bits of the anime and reformat it for film. Like their new story, they had to reformat because that concept of I'm going to get the names and faces of other people from one person. That's what she did with the FBI agent. So you need to have the name and the face to kill someone with this notebook. So you have to have the face in mind. It's there are magic rules. So
Like there's like there's hundreds of rules,
Yeah.
but really those are the two.
Those
You
are the
need a
really
name and
two. You
face.
need a
That's
name
what
and
it
face.
is.
I'm gonna
can't
Go ahead.
call it out
What?
at some point. No, I'm making
Oh,
a note.
later. Okay.
Call,
No, don't worry.
call about
Yeah,
that
we'll
later.
get back to it.
Name and faces rules. So in the anime, there is a really because it's very cerebral. So they're trying to manipulate each other, and he's trying to find ways around all these things. And he uses someone else's names and faces to get the ones that he needs, and in this case, the female character does it. And to Matt's point, Mia does it to an amazing shot, cinematography wise, and just a really cool plot point.
Which they dragged that out later that it was her.
Yeah, they did.
I got fool. I mean, they were intentionally misleading.
Yeah.
Let's quit fucking around.
Kind of
Let's
like
go bad.
Kind of like Game of Thrones, right?
I think we got all we
I
could
think we're
out of
done.
good.
I have like a couple, but it's not even.
All right.
Grasping at straws.
Okay.
So really, be selective because we've got a whole nother segment for the worst of the worst.
Right.
Oh, I got the
Ugly,
worst
so-
in my belt. Hopefully nobody takes it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just going to start off with really them, because in the anime they try and set him up as like a really smart guy, and in this it was basically just like everyone's saying he is smart, but every single moment that we're given with him, with Light, Frosted Tips Lance Bass Light, is shows him as like a screamy, wimpy, not that smart
A putz.
guy.
A putz.
Yeah, putz.
You're a putz, Virginia.
You're a putz.
Matt, I am going to agree with that so much that I'm going to let you know I was saving that for my ugly section.
Okay, all right.
Literally.
We'll
butchery of Light. The
Yeah, keep
butchery.
going. Yeah, explain.
Okay, so I do have to explain this because
We'll combine these.
the anime...
Here we go.
And I think the anime falls a little bit victim to some of what Rick and Morty does, where some people hold it up too highly. You know, it's not like it's not upper
It's a
level
cartoon.
philosophy. It's a cartoon, right?
Donald Duck telling their
It's
pants.
base level philosophy. So I want to get that out of the way first. It's not like it's crazy, but it did try to do some really interesting things. And the way that it did it was with awesome characters, because this whole thing happens in people's heads.
That's what the best, not just anime, like
Yeah.
best stories are that way, but like when it comes to, because it is a cartoon show, in order to like raise above sort of surface level, the characters really have to hit home. And if they
Exactly.
don't, it's gonna like,
It'll be
there's
garbage.
no
Well,
reason.
that's some of the best cartoons, are the ones
Right.
with the characters.
Right.
Just,
So that being said,
yeah.
Light was an amazing character in the anime of Death Note, and that was the point, is he was so smart and so talented, and there are just some people who are that way, that he felt removed from all these other flawed humans, and
That's why I said the
drove
desk
basically
over
the
here.
entirety of the plot.
it makes sense now. So he survives, right? So maybe Light years later becomes a doctor, create androids, and creates Mega Man and becomes Dr. Light. So there you go. He's
I
a
like that
genius.
scenario.
Dr.
And
Light.
it's all because of some stupid notebook.
It's
Yep.
true.
That would make sense.
It all makes
Willem Dafoe.
It really makes.
It's Japanese, right?
There we go.
Hey, that makes more sense than the
synergy.
intention
Yeah.
of the movie.
It's an Asian thing, right?
All right. Mega Man aside.
I mean, they did kind of try and twist you. One thing that I would add on with the bad, and I'm kind of teasing an ugly later, but that they needed. I commented while we were watching it that they needed more of the like Sherlock kind of piecing it together, not in the like. With this, they had the sort of gotcha, let's rewind and play back how smart I was back then.
Yep.
But like for the first hour of the movie, we didn't get any of that.
None
Like
of it.
you two characters are brilliant, or it was just
yeah.
kind of like it was a high school romance of like two random kids.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're good at helping this guy cheat on his math test, and all of a sudden you're supposed to be a genius.
So
like, what are you? No, you can't.
A bad example of show don't tell.
Exactly.
It was a really bad example.
Really
of Shout
bad.
Out to- That was a good way to put it.
So in the manga, is the story between L and Light? Is it more
Way
like
more
Breaking
interesting.
Bad, like where they're
Yes.
just like it's like that
Yeah.
that intense, like don't find out about it, because you didn't have that in the
Away
movie.
with it.
Let's talk about L real quick. So you guys, Jake,
Yes.
let's see what they thought.
Yeah, let's
because
see, 'cause
we
they
have a
didn't watch
very
it.
clear opinion.
Yep.
What did you guys think of the L character?
I thought he was the ugliest.
That was your say?
he was terrible. He sucked.
Sounds a
Okay.
little,
I-
sounds a little
well-
racist, honestly.
No, he was terrible. I hated him. I thought it was the worst thing. Like I thought.
Wow.
I thought the actor did a bad job. I
That's
thought
where I would disagree. Well,
I-
but that's just. But
Okay,
I'm coming
hold
from
on.
the background.
I thought the character is the stupidest character in the freak. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Okay.
And he's jumping on like Gollum and stuff. It's like, come on, give me a break. Give me a break.
What did you
It's
think?
bullshit.
Aaron? What did you think?
I was so bored.
with the movie
With the
or
L
with
stuff
with
or
the
the-
L?
With him in particular.
With L in particular.
He's the
Could
worst
not
part.
have cared
Man,
less.
see, that's
Wow, that's different. Yeah.
well, it's shock. I mean,
shocked.
so where did you think of L in the movie?
in the movie, I thought he was one of the only redeeming qualities along with Ryuk.
Okay.
Him and Ryuk made the movie.
You mean aside from Light's hair?
aside from Light's hair, which is another character of its own.
It's actually like a long
Ben, did you just throw
ratatouille
your
thing
drink
with his
against my
hair
wall?
controlling.
It actually got paid more than Light himself,
Nobody
the actor.
So
I'll clean it up later.
See, I would think L was. I thought the actor did about as good as he could have.
Oh, yeah.
The actor,
Holy
but the
crap,
character was shit.
I thought both.
I thought the character was terrible in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Based
yeah.
on how they set him up as a genius.
Yep.
They didn't really they set up the quirks, but it wasn't like fulfilled really.
But it was
then-
forced. It was forced quirks. It was garbage.
I
And if he's
did-
like that in the manga, I wouldn't like him either.
Ben, I like that the way you put that. Forced quirks. Those are all over the place in everything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
He's
maybe that was
different
something
from-
that didn't
It wasn't
translate
genuine.
Didn't
from
translate
the-
for us.
He's
Yeah.
not like the other boys.
Yeah, so
Hate
that makes
garbage.
sense. So you guys are comparing this to other, films obviously
Yeah,
out right
because
now.
we
where
have
the
nothing
fo-
to reference this to.
Right, you don't have
otherwise.
the other reference. So
Right. So we're rating it on its merits.
You guys
No,
weren't intrigued by the 2-second scene where we learned that L was an orphan trained to be the best detective, one of many best detectives in the world.
So he's Batman. Moving on.
The only part
Was that
with-
even in the anime? Maybe it was, but that was so stupid.
the only
it wasn't
part-
intentional in the anime. It wasn't intentional. He went to a school
my
like
God.
that. So in the anime, he was of an orphanage, and he went through something like that. But it wasn't intentional. It's not like we were trying to make the best detective. He just survived a lot of trauma. I can't remember exactly
it
what.
was less X-Men Xavier
Yeah.
School.
The only part I liked with him was when his little handler says, "You're out of the woods."
You like that?
The Wizard of Oz.
Worse.
Who doesn't love Wizard of Oz?
That was
Okay.
terrible.
I gotta
Focus.
admit, I like that too.
That was what? Man,
The sleeping thing never comes up again.
It never
it was
does.
all to help him sleep with his
Yep.
crazy
Right.
LED blue sunglasses.
Eat your Reese's
And
that was
Pieces.
ridiculous.
Ain't your candy kid.
Eat your Skittle.
Okay.
Defoe's
I
School
gotta
for
say,
Gifted
I have to do this
Detectives.
since we've been shitting on it so much. I do agree with Matt though that the actor I thought the actor did an amazing job.
Considering the source material,
Right.
it was good.
Considering the source.
And the writing, I thought he was doing his best.
Right, I do. I felt it through the film that he was limited by his script, and in fact, to make what he did out of that garbage script, I was genuinely impressed.
He's never gonna get a job again.
That guy's actually in a lot
He's
of
in a
big
lot of
stuff.
stuff,
He's
dude.
in
He's
Atlanta.
really
He was
talented.
in he was Snoop Dogg in the Straight Outta Compton.
He's in Get Out.
Get Out, yeah.
Yep.
Is he the main character in Get Out?
No.
He's the one that
I haven't seen it
gets
yet.
turned. He basically gets turned into like
Don't
a
spoil
white.
things that we haven't warned for spoilers.
Yes, you fool. I haven't seen it yet.
That's true.
Might need to
He
do
gets turned
cut.
into a White
Okay.
Walker. No.
All right. Yeah.
What other bads do you guys have?
Did they really have to keep his name as Light?
It did.
That
Yes.
they changed it from I don't know what it was. It wasn't Turner.
No, it was
That's
not
for sure.
Turner. They just made it Light Turner.
Changed
Mr.
the wrong
Turner.
part of the name.
You're right.
Like
Like,
glue man doom up in his
They may as
room.
well have called him like he's from a biker gang named Razor or something.
Yeah.
you best start
God's
believing in
sake.
ghost stories,
Guys,
Mr. Turner.
when they introduced him as Light Turner, did nobody else make the Fairly Odd Parents reference?
That's
Timmy
good.
Turner?
Yeah.
I mean, he just sits up in his room with this fairy
If they had
god
a
of
goldfish,
death.
Turner.
yeah.
With this fairy god of death,
You're right.
making wishes for people to die.
That's
I'm just saying.
That's a good show, by the way.
It is.
That's
Well, the
underrated.
early show.
It is.
Fairly Odd Parents.
Early
Timmy Turner.
That's right. They had the Arnold
They
Schwarzenegger.
did.
good.
The best excuse ever came from that show, by the way. On the side
Internet?
note, internet.
There you go.
Where'd
See,
you
I
get
paid
that?
attention.
Internet.
That was
okay.
before anybody.
Kinda
ever
like
started
this
acting
movie.
that.
Kind of like this movie, which came from the
Hey.
internet.
What about Two Angry
There's a
Beavers?
lot more bad before we can get into ugly
So
even.
here's one. I'm just
I
gonna
know,
start
I
reading
heard
some
yeah,
quotes.
yeah.
Nobody cares.
How about this? When Light has his death note and
Yep.
he's learned he can kill people with it, and he's just kind of like sitting in a empty gymnasium watching basketball practice, I guess, as high school kids do.
Of course.
And he's just sitting there, and Mia, who is supposedly also. Before I get into the rest of the story,
Yeah, it doesn't
we
make
gotta talk
sense
about
why
Mia
they're there.
being
We gotta talk
the
about
worst
Mia.
character ever.
She was awful.
I felt no remorse when she fell from the Ferris wheel.
and she died.
Slave.
I'm a cheerleader who doesn't give a shit, and I'm just gonna like walk off smoking. 'Cause
Right,
I'm-
right.
I
could
just
never
don't be
tell-
a cheerleader. How
Right.
about that? Just spend your time a little bit more wisely.
What-
Right.
What-
I could never tell if they were how edgy they were trying to make her, or like.
Like that doesn't make you edgy. That just makes
No.
the cheerleading coach the most incompetent character in the movie.
And it's pretty hard to be the most incompetent character in this movie.
That's a
At least they didn't force her to do the splits. You know. Anyways.
Oh, you're doing a pull. Yeah, we're taking it. To
Hey,
Hey, oh, but there should have been a red flag. I don't know if this is in the manga of when she wanted to kill his dad. It's like I'm. This,
That is-
he kind of
this
came back
relationship.
to her.
Yeah,
It's
this relationship is over.
So
sort of like the first thing if you go to like couples therapy. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, so, does your significant other want to kill your parents?
Is that in the manga?
I think I could
I
change
think
her.
we can make it work. We love each other.
No, I would.
Okay,
Is that in the manga?
let me bring up.
Is it? Well, so you talk
was
about
gonna
this
do
because
it.
it's like a big.
This is my
It's a
big thing.
huge difference. The Mia in the
Yeah.
movie versus the Mia in.
I was complaining about this the whole film. So are you ready for it, man? In the anime, Mia and Light's relationship is completely different in the sense that Light never loved her, not from the beginning. And arguably she didn't truly love him either. She was more just a stalker. She like loved him in the sense that an immature fucked up person.
So it's like
would
a
love
Sweeney Todd,
Actually,
Mrs. Lovett.
Yes, she was absolutely a
way.
Mrs.
If
Lovett.
you YouTube best Death Note anime moment, it's the moment of her. It's like a moment of like this realization
Yes.
of like them like coming to terms with who was playing who and
Yep.
like how Light was like onto her the whole time.
Yeah,
And-
Light manipulates her. So that's another thing is they don't set up a character. I get why they had to make Mia as shitty as she was in the film because they didn't set up a character that could do what the actual Light did, which is, cold, manipulative. The only reason that he takes Mia into a consideration is because she in the anime also has a Death Note, which they got rid of that
two
concept.
Death Notes.
Yeah, there's more than two. There's a
Yeah,
bunch.
I mean, I actually think one of the better things they did was some of the, like the fact that they did consolidate it.
Yeah, that
But-
needed to happen
So
for
there's-
But
film.
they didn't. This was something they didn't adapt it.
Yes.
They didn't make the right choices for how to adapt it. I guess.
So there's different God of Deaths run around too.
There's a whole bunch of
Yep.
them.
And
Yeah.
they,
play
but most of
poker?
them
You go
don't.
into the universe of,
Yep.
and you see. Yeah.
So it's like Monsters Incorporated, My Little Monster.
you
go into-
It really
great.
kind of.
That's kind of
You know.
funny. It kind of is. Good job, man.
Aren't you glad we didn't watch the anime?
Oh, I am. You're making great comparisons. It was very
Mike
much like that.
Wazowski.
But here's the thing, though.
Kill him.
One of the differences is that in the anime, Ryuk is what they do by setting up all the other gods of death is they get to show that Ryuk is unique in the fact the other gods of death don't care at all what's happening in the human world, whereas Ryuk wants to go down.
So interesting.
His humans are so interesting line.
That's his tagline.
That's his
basically.
tagline.
So
throughout the whole-
he's like Howie Mandel in My Little Monster.
I don't know the reference.
I don't know that
I'm just
reference,
laughing that you brought up
Well,
Howie
Howie
Mandel.
Mandel. Okay, so
You can open this case or this case.
this case, humans are interesting.
That's pretty funny.
Well, Monsters Inc. totally stole from that movie. Anyways, but that's another story for another time.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, so that's
Anyway,
the
this is
whole-
how they stole it.
That's why hold on, let me conclude that point we were just talking about. That is why Mia sucks in the film because there's none of the relationship back and forth going on. They're both just high schoolers in love with each
So
other.
here's the scene. Back to the gym because this illustrates exactly the sort of they're just high schoolers that just are forced together and this is a manufactured romance. He's sitting there reading the Death Note. She leaves cheerleading practice to come over and talk to him.
Yep.
For whatever reason.
And
They bond for like a split second over like
nothing.
I like his frosted
yeah.
tips.
we're high schoolers.
We're high schoolers and, we're
and she's
emo.
just like, what is that? A Death Note? Is that your poetry or something? and he's like, no, I can't tell you about it. She's like, okay. And then unprompted, do you really want to know? Do you really want to know? Okay, I'll tell you. And then he's just immediately, you got to follow me. And then he just tells her everything.
Yep,
And
he
that's
just spills
how
it all out.
this is how everything
He's
happens.
a genius,
Yep.
you know.
Is that like a great? Is that a pickup line you use, Aaron?
No,
You carry around a book of poetry and you hope people unprompted will ask you about it?
No, I just take my laptop into Starbucks.
And hope that
And
people
write your novel.
hope that people are really into serial killers.
Yeah.
I'm a screenwriter.
I'll tell you though. Okay, I have to bring this up.
Just to follow up, just
I came
another
up with the
quote.
pickle.
Okay, another
or
quote.
He
pickle
goes,
Rick and Morty.
"Trust me, you of all people will want to see this."
How does he know anything about her?
How would you know? Why would she want to know about a book that kills people? You
Because
of
they
all
talked
people.
for like 5 minutes
Yeah.
and knew everything
I've
there
seen
was
you-
to know about
not
each
even
other.
I've seen you
minutes.
smoking at the top of the
Because
cheerleader
that's how
pyramid.
he wrote it to happen in his death note.
It was like 20 seconds. Yeah. Now that would be amazing.
That would be
if their
incredible.
very first interaction was all written out, and the whole plot of the movie was his elaborate, like, beautiful mind conspiracy he'd written out.
Yes. So, side note for everyone from home: when you write the death in the death note, you get to specify how it happens, and there's a time frame. They actually don't go into the time frame into the movie.
No, they don't have
don't.
the
There's a time
frame
limit.
is actually critical.
7
They
days.
focused on the burn page.
The
thing,
burn page thing. But anyways, so you have a time limit, but you can specify. So he could technically control someone to do something when he writes them their death in the death note. So he could orchestrate the entire movie, but he
Dealer's
doesn't.
choice.
All right. That brings me to a good point though. So he just spills the beans on the death note to this random girl who he can't trust for anything. How does he know she's not gonna rat him out? So
We'll get the ratting out part.
Yeah.
we'll get
We'll
to
get
in
to
a
it,
minute.
yeah.
So
So
go ahead, keep
what
going.
upsets me so much about that is for anyone familiar with the anime, you'll know that the first like 3 or 4 entire episodes are him plotting out how to stop himself from getting caught. From like the first second, he's like, I
All right.
cannot be
You're
caught
treading,
doing this.
You're treading in my
Yeah,
ugly.
yeah, and they're talking. They're talking about it in the middle of the hallways.
Right, I know he doesn't. In the movie,
The
they-
feds are on us.
he doesn't even try.
I'll circle back to like my extended ugly, but
Okay.
here's the thing.
Okay.
A huge portion of the movie is about. So the anime does a better job. Honestly, I don't remember how they explain it, but I remember they spent quite a bit of time of him like rationalizing out all of the intricacies.
Yep.
But like in this, they're like, we gotta pump the brakes. They're onto us. Elle is chasing us. They're calling us out to the media. It's like no one is stopping you from killing people with a notebook, man. Like who is gonna trace you writing in a book, handwritten? Like
No one.
watching the public news. There is no process in place that is preventing you from looking up criminals on the internet, seeing their face, knowing their name, writing their name in a book
Yep.
in a country thousands of miles away.
Right.
There's nobody stopping you.
Nope.
And that becomes the sort of the third act direction is him feeling like cornered.
Yeah, cornered.
There is no corner.
He was cornered over nothing. And here's what they did in the anime, because I can tell you. They set it up as a rivalry and a challenge, and Light screwed himself over.
You're treading. Let's just hold on.
All right.
Because like you're 100% right.
Yeah.
There's a whole like pathway to go down
Okay,
of why this
so let's
sucks.
just say this. By skipping a very important thing that we'll get into later, they screwed the entire piece of this film where there's a cat and mouse, because they left out the only reason he should be concerned or scared.
God?
Yeah, God is going to judge.
God,
you.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
God comes into play.
condoms.
Actually, it wasn't God. It was Krishnu.
I thought Vishnu?
Vishnu.
And then we get a scene of Ryuk doing like. Did you guys ever see 30 Days of Night?
No God.
30 Days of Night. I feel like I have.
I've not seen that.
Great vampire movie. Check it out.
Have you seen John Carpenter's Vampires?
Like, what did you guys think of all that? Like,
Okay, yeah.
Did you guys,
Non-anime.
Aaron? Like, what did you think
I got so sick of they know that we know that they know that we know.
Yeah.
I don't care.
And I didn't believe it. First of all, yeah, I agree with 100% with like no one's gonna know. No one knows how you do it. But one thing, L's a terrible detective to spill the beans. He should
Actually,
have.
he was the best.
No, he was terrible. It was like, I know it was you. You know, he should have been like more friendly with him, and
Like in the diner.
yeah.
I actually love the diner.
No, but I thought it was stupid. You
Yeah.
got to take the Columbo approach for it. You become friends.
You're being
and-
pretty
Gotta wait.
realistic.
And one more
about
thing.
detective
That's true.
work
You know,
for
you gotta
a
be
movie
s-
where a notebook kills.
Yeah,
You're
but
right,
if
though.
he's supposed to be a
Yeah.
brilliant detective,
I agree with
you.
you. Actually,
It's
you
true,
don't,
yeah.
you don't throw your whole hand.
Yeah,
blew
you're
his
right.
load.
He showed his cards.
What was the advantage?
There was no
What did he
advantage.
get out
Just
of it?
kill his friend
Just
for
to,
it.
like read his body
Yeah.
language. Just
So here's another thing I had a problem with.
Okay.
Not just that character completely being a bad character, but you have to have a face and a name, right?
Yep.
For all we know, his name is L. You know what I mean? And so it's not his exact name, but it's his.
If you write it in the book, though,
won't
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
But they didn't explain that.
They could
like his name is L.
That's true.
Yeah.
His name. That's you know what? That's how you identify himself as L.
They could have had
That's
a
true. Do
section.
they go based on their birth names?
name
What
or
if they
their
change
current
their
name?
name? Is
Right.
it legal? Do they follow the legal system?
And what if
change
you
your name?
fed a gremlin after midnight? It's midnight somewhere else.
I believe. Okay. All right.
I mean, come on.
Shut down.
It's
You
5
win.
o'clock
That's
somewhere,
phenomenal. It's
Spider-Man.
like no parking signs.
Spider. All right.
No parking after midnight. It's always after midnight.
Well done, Ben.
That really shut us down.
It's happy hour somewhere.
Okay.
Impressive.
How about this? How does he have a warrant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the hell did the warrant come from?
You had to
Based
go
on
to a
what
judge.
evidence?
You had to go to a judge for that.
Maybe he went to Japan for that. We don't know.
I do agree. How the hell did he get a warrant? He had nothing at that
And they
point.
did. It wasn't even a bluff. He legitimately had
Yeah.
a warrant because the cops showed up and
Yep.
ransacked the house.
Yep.
I just wish he wasn't Gollum-like. You know, just sit on a chair, please.
Okay.
Feet on the floor. Feet
Listen,
on the
AC
floor.
Slater.
Okay. So your hatred of L actually ties into another thing. The complete wasted talent of the father actor.
He
and
was-
I'm
Yeah.
blanking on his name.
Oh, he's
I
terrible.
don't know the actor's name.
And
You didn't
like,
like the
oh.
dad?
Oh, he was terrible in this.
I mean, in this,
Oh my
again,
God.
Matt,
Again,
he-
I agree
we're
with you.
hitting-
It's
yeah.
more the actor's good.
You're
the
right.
writing's
It could be
bad.
the George Lucas effect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
so that's what I'm noticing
thought
with
Hayden
both
Christensen was
characters.
terrible.
I'm saying to myself as
too.
I saw that happening on screen, I thought, wow, they're delivering that amazingly. I wish the words they were given were not terrible, which is exactly what happened. And again, wasted talent of that actor. What is his name? Do you
Shea
I don't know. I didn't
Wiggum?
look at- I-
Shea Wiggum?
That him?
Hold on.
It says Turner.
Yes, that's
Police
him.
Chief
Shea
Wiggum?
Wiggum. Yeah, he's amazing.
Now, Ralphie.
He's an incredible actor, and that was just completely wasted on the role. You know,
He
the
had some
detective
riot
role
gear on
could
the
have been
house.
so important.
Could have.
Yeah.
Could have. I know. Could have is a
He's
keyword.
You know who he is? That's where I've seen this guy before. He plays the one character in The Dark Knight who at the jail who beats up the Joker and gets exploded.
Nope.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Look
it
it
is.
up.
I'm gonna look.
I
I
don't,
don't think that's
so.
true. The one
He's
thing
in
he
King
did,
Kong.
He's
in
in
the
King
new
Kong,
King
and he
Kong.
got
Drum
he
roll
got
on the
celebrated
keyboard
for that.
for
He
this.
was very good, and he was also in Boardwalk Empire, and he was very good in that as well.
Well, you keep talking while I look
right,
this
you do
up.
that.
So
Okay.
here's another line that was in this movie. You don't get to feel superior for being a pussy.
What? When did they even
That's
say
Mia,
that?
when Mia's kind of like they're trying to show it. They're like
Yeah.
dancing.
Oh,
and she's
yeah.
like, and he's like, "It was you.
Yeah.
It was you the whole time."
Yeah.
And she's like,
Oh.
she's like twitching. Give me the note. Turn it over to
Oh.
me. And he's like, "What is wrong with you? This is so out of nowhere."
Yeah.
Like just like speaking for the audience, kind of. And
Yeah.
she's just
Yeah.
like, "You don't get to feel superior for being a pussy. You should kill everyone."
Wow.
I just think we should have
The
a whole
writing was
podcast
so
about Matt
bad.
talking
Guys,
like that.
Yeah, I'm glad you
know
mentioned the
what?
George Lucas effect because
First night was crazy bad.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm
we
just-
get off on tangents.
Exhibit
here,
A.
Jake.
it's okay. It's okay. I'm glad you mentioned the George Lucas effect because the more you quote these lines, and I've got another one I'm going to add to this, the more I realize that all of the dialogue was like the scene where Anakin flirts with Leia over, or not Leia, what's her name? Padme.
Yeah.
Padme. Over
Sand gets everywhere.
Sand gets everywhere. It's the entire movie. Imagine if that
It's
scene was
coarse.
the entire movie's worth of dialogue.
You're right. Thank you. That was good. It's like
What? Yeah, you just the whole time. Kate, here's the line that makes me think that very early in the film. Didn't you get held back? Yeah. Well, if you hit me right now, technically that's child abuse.
Yeah. Technically, that's tribes. And I don't think you want to fucking do it. And then he gets punched in the face.
We're butchering the quote. Go watch it yourselves.
Yeah,
it's
No, that was
it's-
pretty close.
Actually, it's close. No, we're butchering how bad you can actually get.
don't
me.
It
watch
was actually
this.
probably our line reading was probably a little bit better.
I know. I
actually.
think we just acted it better than what actually happened. So
But because like 3 seconds before, this was right after he kind of like the bully shoves Mia out of the way.
Yeah.
He goes, Don't touch her.
Yeah. Oh God, that was really bad. That was really bad.
Yes. So two things with regard to that. I'm not going to save for the ugly. What we got to talk about his screams.
Oh my God.
Who wants to try and give an impression of that scream?
Not me.
I can't. My screams are too manly.
Yeah, back it up. I probably maxed out when I did the don't fucking touch.
Something like that. It was like that.
It was kind of goofy.
I think you guys.
Yeah, you did it. Play it again. What's wrong with your voice? Yeah, it was like it was kind of
I love
girly
that.
squeal.
Okay, hold on. So Ben earlier said that he loved it. Now we have to have clarification
Yeah,
on this because
you
it was
liked it?
terrible.
That's why I loved it.
It was so bad.
Because it was they did it on purpose to make it so stupid. Like it was like
It almost seemed like
I don't think they did it
wanted
on
to make it
purpose.
stupid.
Oh,
I think he was
yeah.
just that bad.
Yeah.
no,
This-
I think that was a directorial choice. You know, that
Why would
goofy.
they want to make it stupid? This is the eerie reveal of Ryuk. I mean,
just
this is
just
one
the
of
lightheartedness? Like that's what's funny about it.
The lighthearted on top of the 3 seconds later they show a ladder bloodily decapitating some guy over
it's called juxtaposition.
You've seen Fargo, right? That's a funny movie.
Oh my God, Fargo's amazing. Don't even bring Fargo into
Fargo.
this.
Yeah.
it's just like Fargo.
Oh, don't.
You know,
Oh, it hurts me.
funny
I can't
looking
even,
guy.
I know it's a joke. I can't even say it. The words.
Funny
can't
looking
even
guy,
leave my
right?
mouth.
Fargo.
Fargo. You want to watch Fargo?
No, I thought it was funny.
I mean,
I thought
it was funny, just-
I thought it was intentional.
Okay. If it was, then that was a terrible call.
Yeah, I guess.
Wow.
Seriously.
Oh, jeez.
But they kept doing it. But at the end, okay, so that reminded me of the scene at the end in the how I don't like the actor who played Light, where he was arguing with the
No
girl,
one did.
and he was like, "Well, you put my name down. You put my name down too." You know, like,
Oh,
like, it was just,
God, yeah.
You put my name. No, you put my name.
His
that was his whole.
his facial expressions.
Oh, I was like, dude.
Did he have frosted tips in the anime?
No, he just had
Blonde, light
just-
hair. Yeah.
yeah, it was
Once again,
brown.
Or brown hair. It was. It was brown hair.
And he was Asian.
Wow, yeah, dude. It wasn't even blonde. For a second there, I thought, oh, to mimic the blonde, they gave him that. But no,
They chose
no
for
reason.
the sand.
They
kind of
chose.
sand streaks.
Yeah.
low rent budget version of Lance Bass in an anime adaptation on Netflix. Let's think about that.
You cut to an explosion.
We're going to spend an hour talking about this.
do you know what you kind of reminded me there? The You Don't Know Jack announcer.
I have no idea what you're
Oh,
video
man, is that a
game?
reference you guys don't get? Okay.
Is that a
the
video
video
game?
game? Yeah,
Yeah.
with the questions and answers, and there's an announcer.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
one
yeah.
person out there who's
I
gonna
don't
understand
remember.
You got today's wrong answer of the day.
You youngins
All right.
love those video games.
Any
played
other
it once.
kind of low-key bads before we go to
Low-key
'cause I've got
bads?
a lot of uglies actually.
Yeah,
so
I think we
should
need to
probably
move on to ugly
transition.
because what keeps happening is we keep saying, well,
We're
that was
gonna
really
have time
bad,
for
and
ugly
here's
if
the
we
ugly
get-
part of it.
All right,
So-
let's go.
Let's
You're
just do
out
it.
of the woods.
Who wants to start?
Yeah, let's let one of them start this time.
Oh,
Aaron, why don't
seriously, the frosted tips, man.
you start? They were really
Seriously.
They were distracting the whole
What
film.
year is it? Get Robin Williams in here so he can say, "What year is it?"
All right,
The
Jumanji.
beard. Oh, God, what year is it?
Old man Parrish.
Someone roll a 5 or an 8.
Sarah Whittle.
Dealer's choice. Oh.
Humans are so interesting.
Nobody does frosted tips anymore.
Nobody.
Nobody.
That was a very specific choice, whereas the rest of the movie was very on point.
I bet there's
Yeah.
a featurette somewhere where they're talking about how proud they are of their artistic direction.
I do want whoever was responsible for that decision to be held accountable publicly. Like,
so he would stand out
we need names and faces. And they need to be brought on Entertainment Tonight
Very
to
nice.
justify what they did.
So,
Well, Ryuk had frosted tips.
No, he didn't.
He just had tips.
They were frosted.
Yeah. Okay.
Cornflakes.
I remembered my other thing. I was trying.
Okay.
I had two things, and then we got sidetracked with the screaming.
Yeah.
So the part with the bully. This is back to the bully.
oh.
So the whole idea of this bully being like this criminal worthy of being killed.
Yeah.
And,
That's every high school
here we
movie
go.
ever.
We're starting my tangent. This is a good segue.
Tangent
So,
time.
tangent time. So at one point, so we introduced the
Prefer
bully,
cosine.
and it's like he's just shoving people and blah, and like they refer to him as a sociopath. And
Yep.
then
Oh,
it's sort of
Doyle.
like his test. Like, I don't know if this is real. Whatever. I'll write his name down and say he's decapitated. Whatever. And he gets killed, like brutally.
Yep.
That was pretty good.
Hold
budget.
on, let us
It
tangent
was.
go. Oh,
No,
that
it
was good. Yeah.
And it just kind of, and it was like half his head.
Yeah,
it was
that
kind
was
of
pretty
rolling.
It was
around.
like, yeah. Like,
that was a
even true
good. That was a good
decapitation.
decision, actually.
Yeah.
I want my money back, Ryuk. He's still got half a head.
He's got half a head.
if you only had half a head.
You got to be specific. Dealer's choice.
Dealer's
So-
choice.
At that point, all we know about the bully is that he just kind of like bullies people.
Yeah.
He
that's
just
all
shoves
we
them
know.
around,
Yeah, shoves
and
them
that's
around.
it.
Yep.
He
And then
deserved
at
it.
one point, Light is like, he and me are talking, and it was the part with the website
Yeah.
where they're submitting, people are submitting things,
yeah.
and he's like, maybe we should pump the brakes. We don't know if these people are,
Good or
you know,
bad.
they could be lying. They could be like their statement is, or what they're telling us isn't what is up to snuff.
Right.
Somebody get Snopes on this shit.
And he's like, maybe we shouldn't do it. And two things wrong with that. One is you literally killed somebody who shoved, like, the only evidence we have is that he pushes people to the ground. That's the only evidence. And
That's
you're like,
true.
I'm totally fine with that
Murdering
outcome.
him.
I don't
I'm
think
totally
you-
fine with murdering
But,
somebody.
but maybe his conscience has gotten the best of him. Maybe
It's
that's
re-
like, yeah, maybe.
okay.
Okay, maybe it's
That's
twos.
true. That's
Point
true.
two.
Maybe he's
Point
just a
two
pussy.
is-
Point two.
Is that
It's never too late.
point two is that his, and this is me going back to the anime, but within the scope of the show,
Yep.
they needed to go one of two directions, and they chose sort of like a vague middle.
Yep.
Either they needed to play up his Batman personality of like, I'm vigilante justice and like the morality, like I have this very clear
Code.
morality, I'm taking it into my own hands.
Yep.
They kind of showed that with the montage. If they were going to really force that down our throats, that Mia was the dark side, he was more of like
The light side.
the light side.
Oh my god!
If they wanted to do that, I think they really needed to show how bad the people we were like get
Yes!
a visceral reaction.
We got
like
none of that.
rather than just saying like, oh, he was a serial killer,
Right.
or like, oh, this guy was a pedophile who did this. This.
Oh,
like,
don't
they,
tell.
They needed to show
Show,
like this
don't
is like
tell.
a really bad person that I'm killing. They either needed to go that way, or they needed to go the way the anime went
Yep.
and show him being a sociopath and like just a crazy person with like power hungry that has like a twisted, warped mentality that
Yep.
is killing people. Which
Does he kill good people or bad people in the anime?
Bad
what
people.
happens is he starts by like having this justice. Like
Yep.
they didn't have the mom plot.
They did not
Which
have the mom
they
at all.
they they put in here again.
Yeah.
They should have shown that his mom was brutally killed by this gangster, rather than just like,
So
oh,
you-
this guy at a diner, I guess, is the one that killed his mom.
Yep.
But in the anime, they show him that going to his head and him like just starting to kill. Like his code is breaking because his mentality is
Yep.
like,
like
going
that.
to criminal. It's way more interesting, and so, that's basically it.
So,
Like
Matt-
they basically went to the middle,
Right.
in the most uninteresting path, rather than splitting to the
Right.
extremes.
No extreme justice, no extreme sociopath.
Yeah.
Just I'm a little of both.
that was my
sometimes with it.
biggest problem.
That was terrible.
And not
I'm a
even
little
compared to the
country.
anime. They
Yeah,
could've-
just in general.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, dude, you're
Beautiful
right.
thing.
Because they could have reformatted this for film and not gone this sociopathic way.
I mean, people love super. They could have made him like a superhero, like who is misunderstood, being chased down.
Yep.
You know,
They
but
could've.
they didn't. They
didn't.
went.
Wait, you
high
mean to
school.
tell
school.
me that people like superhero movies?
You think?
I think they're.
There's. I've only seen a couple.
That
Okay,
might
so
be
you
a
know what you want
market
to know?
for
Speaking
it.
of things people really like that maybe are overdone but can help some things. Voiceovers, right? So not
ADR.
usually a huge fan. I think sometimes. Yeah.
Matt,
not
talk.
dubs.
Oh, they
not
did.
dubs.
You missed it.
Do Matt.
What?
My name is Matt. My name is Matt. I'm Willem Dafoe too. See? Sleep.
So not dubbing. Sorry, not dubbing. Voiceovers is in the thoughts in his head while he's
yeah,
moving.
yeah, there you go.
So sometimes it's used as a crutch in film. I've made fun of it before, but sometimes it's awesome. And here's one of the best places to do it because remember in the anime how much justifying he does as it becomes more.
I
of
mean,
a
they kind of
sociopath.
did the more like. Sort of the start of the movie, the line we made fun of him, like, if you kill me, then that will be blah, blah, blah. That'll be blah, blah, blah. Like, that'll be child abuse. Like, that's a line of, like, that's something that anime can get away with.
Right.
Like, that over-explaining, like, out loud. But
Yeah, that's why
here's the
what
thing.
didn't translate to me.
It didn't translate at all, and that's another. So he was actually trying to use his mental powers to like one up this bully, right? Because look, I've got this clever angle, right?
Clearly his
but
powers
we
were
never
huge.
got. I wouldn't call that a justification, though. We never got him talking to himself or to another character about how, like. Well, because he never took the road that you said that he does in the anime, the sociopath road. He never took it. So he never killed someone and then said, well, they were going to out us, and the good I'm doing outweighs one or two innocent people dying because that's what they're supposed to get at. That's the whole tension in the film. That was nowhere. This whole concept that if I kill one or two bad guys to keep or good guys to keep killing all these bad guys, I'm good. It's the trolley problem in a film.
his tension was
you go.
his tension for the whole movie was really like if he wanted to keep his boner or not.
Yeah, that was it. It was just a high school romance.
Like that was his decision making. Really, it was like,
Right.
oh, you killing my dad's really gonna like make this
yeah.
half chub. And
Yeah,
stuff,
exactly.
I would have wrote something in that notebook right after that
Yeah,
one.
we have sex several hundred times and then you die.
of too much sex.
Of
Die of
exhaustion.
a great orgasm.
Yeah, right.
Dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice.
Death by snoo snoo.
And I get to watch.
You ever wonder how Superman?
And then we just have Willem Dafoe in the corner as they're doing it.
Yes, like
Humans are so
so interesting.
Humans are so interesting.
Impressive.
Shock bait.
Oh God. We need that soundbite. We need that soundbite.
Impressive.
I don't have it. I'm
Impressive.
sorry.
All right.
We're gonna
I
get
think I've got a couple more. I've got a whole list. What else?
Yeah.
Is there any others you guys can
Ugly.
think of?
Gray. That was
Yeah.
just
the
somebody
drabness.
else's drab.
Yeah.
Not interesting to look at.
No,
Yeah.
that was terrible.
There
It
was some reds and blues
but it
here,
was
but-
muted. It was
Yeah,
so
it was so
muted.
muted.
Give me a break. Give me a break with the muted. You can still do scary with and morbid with more color.
Yeah,
I really
that's going to
do.
happen next week.
You can, but I
That's
will.
right.
I will
We're
argue
gonna
you're
use
right.
a flash. Huge juxtaposition.
It is going to be really
how you
colorful.
can use color to accentuate things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I agree, but I think that it helped them a little bit. They wanted to do a lot with Ryuk. We can get into that. They did a lot more with Ryuk than they do in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
the movie
having
is-
him in it almost required the muting because, like, to show him with any better light.
Because you can be colorful but dark.
Yeah,
You can make him less colorful.
yeah, you
You
can
know what I
make
mean?
him
You could-
only.
you
They just
make
wanted
him-
to put him in shadows. All
I know,
the
but
time.
you can make him in. But you can still have shadows, but not gray.
Right.
Like
Okay.
he could be more muted as a character.
All right, I'll agree.
He's
I agree.
black and white.
I will say one of his most interesting, but his like, in addition to his like catchphrase, humans are so interesting.
Yeah.
Like he does eat apples all the time.
Yeah.
That did not translate
Nope.
at all
Nope.
in the movie. Like
Why does
that
he eat
made
apples?
no
Mention it.
that made no sense.
Is that supposed to be biblical or something?
Probably, but like the
in
way
the
it's
anime, yeah.
introduced in the show in the movie it's just like he is sitting in detention on a desk and there is an apple which then introduces that Ryuk likes apples.
Vitamin C.
They don't even. Ryuk never
Yeah,
even
yeah.
says that he likes apples. He
I
just
hate
keeps
the
eating
skin.
them.
No scurvy for this.
There's a
sea
whole
dog.
thing in the show about how he's just like, I really
They
like
give you
these.
the
That's half the
shits.
reason I keep coming down to Earth.
Yeah, his character
And
was
again.
totally unfulfilled. How about the part where the climax of the movie on the Ferris wheel?
Yep.
This is so
The
minor.
anticlimax.
This is so minor. Like obviously he wrote it all out, and it was sort of like an ultimate plan.
Yeah.
Like he was trying to like convince her to test her to see if she was going to take the note from him.
Yep.
But he's like, let's go. God damn it. It's so stupid. The ending is so stupid.
It's really dumb.
They go up onto the Ferris wheel after being chased by Elle, who got knocked out by a fanatic who happened to work at a restaurant, who happened to believe that this person in front of him was Kira. And like whatever. The whole fanatic
It's
thing
like the
was
scene- it's-
totally underplayed.
that little part reminded me of The Dark Knight when they wanted to kill the news reporter, like for no
Yes.
reason. It's like that didn't make
Yeah,
sense.
no, it didn't.
That didn't make sense.
So he's being chased by Elle. Elle gets knocked out. They decide, Mia and Light decide to meet up on the Ferris wheel. And it's like, nobody move! Nobody move! Like, you pick the one thing, the one worst spot you could possibly hide out on is a fucking Ferris wheel.
There's nowhere to go.
Slowly moving to put you at a height where you cannot escape.
Not even Mighty Joe Young
he's
can
like-
save you.
Let's run away. Let's run away together.
Where would they go?
You're caught. You're stuck. How are you going to escape this? Like, I get you wrote it in the thing.
Yeah.
Like, that you will plan your escape based on contingencies, potentially. But also, that was bullshit.
Right.
Like, one of the rules that they call out specifically, actually, is that, like, it has to be realistic and physics has to apply. And it's like, you fall from the exact same angle, same point, and she, like, they split off, apparently.
Yep.
Like, she lands
It's
on a
wind
hard
shearing.
surface. And
There could be a gust of wind.
Yep. It was
They should.
bad.
There could have been a boat that could take off of.
No, they could have avoided this entire.
We're already there. God damn it. We have so much more. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish it.
I was gonna say the way to fix it is to just avoid. I mean, they had to. The only way to fix it is to not do it. Like
there is no Ferris wheel in the book.
Right, there's no
you can
Ferris
pick a
wheel.
million different
Right.
things. Just pick a better outcome. You know?
And like Matt said, be
third
clever.
man.
I'm going to write this really lengthy thing out in the book. Okay, let's just say that it was smart and we can't
make sure
pick
you
it
pick up
apart,
notes.
which we can. But let's just say it's foolproof, and he writes that out. Where the fuck was that for the entire rest of the
Nowhere.
film? Nowhere. He never writes out complicated, cool plots, which is what he does the entire time in the show. Is like, he's brilliant. So he's like, oh, and then they're going to go, they're going to write this down here, and then they're going to walk over there, and then they're going to die there. Like, these smart things. He never does that.
And
Even
also,
Timmy and the Fairly Odd Parents got it better than he did.
They did, God damn it.
realism.
Yes. Listen to the goldfish.
Listen to the goldfish.
I think the most unrealistic
to
thing
you.
about that,
Yeah.
actually, like, let's say you planned out every single part. It's perfectly written.
Yep.
Every single thing. You cannot predict that your page that says you will die is going to fall perfect. Like,
Nope.
I don't know how.
What do you mean?
Like, so he wrote out
He
that
wrote out that his page would tear
the
out.
page that
She would tear
had
it
written
out.
that so she had torn. So this became way more complicated than it needed to be.
Yep.
She had torn out a page that then she, like, again, the rules of who gets to write in it were not clearly explained, and that leads. Oh my God,
Yeah.
there's so much wrong. So she writes in the page.
How do you get sleep?
I don't sleep. I just stay up all night.
Yep.
Complaining about our movies.
So she, my notebook. So she writes in the page this elaborate death for him. He dies at. Actually, it's not elaborate. He dies at midnight.
Yep.
Period.
Boom.
And so he then, I don't know how he would have known that she had a page at that point. Oh, no, he did.
Yeah.
So he writes in that the page will then fall and get burned so that he will live.
Yeah.
But how, again, it's the physics and the
Right.
how could he have predicted that from that height the page
Right.
would fall into a fire?
It could happen.
It
It could happen.
It could happen.
I just,
I will say,
That was your ugly?
it just
no,
wasn't.
I mean, it's
There's a
one-
lot worse ugly.
No. I'm just pointing that out.
It's
Yeah.
beneath the capabilities of the book.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous the way he wrote it. It does not give us the picture of Light as an intelligent person.
It becomes like, here's what you could have done.
He's like a teenager.
Here's what you could have done. Not get on a fucking Ferris wheel.
yeah.
Come up with a way where it's more
way.
realistic for a page to fall out of a book and go into a fire.
Right.
Where was the fire?
They-
Where was the fire?
It was in a hobo trash can on the ground. Like, it made no sense.
Yeah.
Just come up with, like, that's not like,
Yeah.
Wait.
that's not like canon that
Right.
they're on a Ferris wheel.
Right.
They wrote the scene to be like that.
Yep.
There's a million other ways to play out that sequence of events.
Such
that are
as not a Ferris wheel.
Yes.
Yep. Now, Matt.
So what you're saying
What
is
about
maybe not
dumpster
a Ferris
fire?
wheel.
Matt, this brings me into what I like to
Like,
call
be really metaphorical.
Yeah.
Like, this movie is a fucking dumpster.
That's the end of the movie. The
Go
dumpster
ahead.
fire.
Sorry.
First, two things. First, do hobos still make trash can fires? Is that
Oh,
a
they
thing,
do.
or is that-
It's a
okay.
thing.
There's only
happens.
one way to know if it's a hobo, and that's with a beans on over a trash.
Exactly.
can.
That's what I thought. That was
and
a
Christopher
thing
Lloyd's
of a
there.
certain
Yeah.
era. In reality, though, I did have a thing, and that was
Marty.
It fell victim to what I call "now you see me" complex, which is
okay.
the worst thing that modern films can do. And the "now you see me" complex is based on the movie "Now You See Me."
Oh yeah.
which is
I
terrible.
haven't seen those. I just
These elaborate
the
magic. We've
magic.
been working from the beginning, and
What's
it
not
basically
you see me about?
You know those movies about the like fake magicians or
Oh
magicians with Woody Harrelson and
Yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg.
They're terrible.
The concept that there's some extremely elaborate plot running in the background the entire time, subverting everything the film is trying to get you to believe. It just
Ocean's
why
11.
make the movie? Yes, I mean, but Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 11 was. That's what this movie and those other movies should be more like.
Yes, because they did
It's
it
like
right.
tease out like some of the setup.
Yep.
That you can
Yes.
see that this progressed. And I know
Yes.
this is a movie about a magic notebook that kills people
Right.
with a whole bunch of
I
rules.
demand some logic in my deaths from a
But
magic
like
book.
this is the movie where like the mechanism and the planning
Yep.
can be explained easily, but the characters are what needed the development
Yes.
to get to the point where they would be the ones to come up with the plan.
Yep.
And they didn't tease that.
They need to put the care in character.
Here's the worst part.
Hey.
Okay.
Here's maybe not the worst part, but what did you guys think of the? I know we're gonna go over.
It's okay.
We have a lot.
It doesn't matter. We have a lot to cover.
Yeah.
He's really passionate.
L at the end,
L at the end.
finding another torn out page.
Oh yeah.
What did you guys think of that?
That didn't make sense. He's going to write his name down. What's his name down? But how would that work? It's a torn out page. Why is there a torn out page?
Well, that's something they didn't explain. Was that I guess anybody can write in any page at any time
no, but
and it counts.
but,
Right.
but if you tear it out, that means it's void, right?
No.
no,
that's
torn
not
out
a-
pages actually are
they
a big
still
thing.
work,
but
yeah.
it's only if it's burned
Yeah.
Ah.
that it doesn't count.
Torn out pages still work.
and again,
but he's right.
But
Yeah.
but God,
Yeah.
before we get back to it, the way they rationalized it was that only one page ever in the book can be burned. It had nothing to do with who is holding it at that
Yeah,
time.
yep.
And so we're supposed to believe that in the existence of this book, not one time has someone torn out a page and burned it.
Yeah.
That's a very good point, Matt. Because
Flawed.
he's like there were liner notes with Ryuk or whatever. And my
trust
favorite is the most letters of my name that anyone's got down were 2, like to try and kill
It's
Ryuk,
literally
right?
written in the book.
It's literally written
Yeah.
in the book.
Yeah,
Don't
I was-
trust Ryuk. It's already written there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't believe
Yeah.
his lies.
I just don't understand.
No, I
know.
that's a good call
Maybe
there.
he's lying that his name's Ryuk.
Yeah, maybe. That would be smart. If
Maybe
you
it's
knew the
just
rules, Don't tell
Ryu
anyone
or
his name.
Ryu.
How do you know that God's the good one?
But no, I hate it.
Like moms.
After
Hate
a
the
whole
ending.
movie of like bullshit sequences and twists and turns and like random rules or like major shifts in tone, all of a sudden it's like, hey, we're gonna end this on a cliffhanger. Did he
Yep.
kill him or not? Who
Right,
knows?
Right. Look how artsy we
You
are.
mean a cliff note?
Hey.
No,
Cliff
it's-
Death Note?
It literally is one of those like they really are just like, see, look, we can be Inception too.
See, look.
We can
hey,
be dumbed
sequel.
down for the American
sequel?
audience.
Yeah,
Sequel?
sequel.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Sequels? Willem Dafoe?
Yep.
I'm in. I'm in.
I don't think this
Sign
will
the
get a
dotted
sequel.
line.
There was a thing in Wikipedia about them like thinking about it, but I don't know if it.
I mean,
I
it
don't
was-
think it will.
it
This
was
movie's been.
You know, I read the reviews on this movie, and I'm thinking we're going to greenlight the sequel.
Really?
No.
No.
He's
No, that's a sarcasm voice.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
sarcasm entered the door today.
You want to know what my supreme big ugly about this movie is?
Yeah, what's the big ugly?
Nobody cares.
I care.
I care.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Good. I'm glad. We watched it together.
Yep.
I was drunk. I had to watch it again.
Yep.
That was your.
I had to watch it again, and I couldn't bring myself to finish it while sober, okay? I got like 45 minutes in, and I turned it off. I don't need to see the rest to know I don't
And then he
it.
watched Alice in Wonderland 2. The whole. That's how bad it was, right?
I still haven't seen that. I have no idea how bad it is.
You just go back and play Dragonheart on repeat.
Yes.
I just want to say that me and Matt had talked about this beforehand as people who love the original show, the anime, and we upped and downed and then upped again our expectations. I think was a problem.
Yes.
Like I was ready.
I was all on.
Yeah,
all on
we
board
just thought,
from
you
the
know
start.
what? The critics are hating it,
I
but
was-
there's going to be something that we love about it. There's going to be like we were ready to
You
find
wanted
that
it to be good.
Yeah, we wanted it so bad, and that was a problem.
Just like
because
I wanted the
was-
Pacers unis to be good.
No,
It was
they let us
so
all
bad.
down.
Let's hope this doesn't happen next week with It.
That's true.
Oh, I don't
That'll
think
be
so.
a
The
major
reviews- the reviews are
disappointment. I don't know
getting
if
good
I'm as
reviews.
into it as
The
you
reviews are getting good
Yeah.
reviews?
Yes.
Yeah, it actually is getting decent.
That review was great.
That's what I mean.
I mean, it's a well-written story, so there's a lot they can do with it easily.
and it's
is-
meant.
Yeah.
Well, it's a whole. the only adaptation of it so far is a mini series movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
How much? So like that's different than 30 plus episodes of an anime
Right.
plus like countless books.
Can we say Dragon
detail.
Ball?
Yep.
Can we say Dragon Ball Z? They did the same thing.
Oh, where they try to condense it.
It's like this is too much.
No.
Maybe
It just comes down to the show, almost like how you adapt it.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
because I think you
It's all
still
the
could have
choice
done
of-
it with
you
one
could.
movie.
you could, but also
They do anime movies of Dragon Ball Z.
yeah, but also in this day and age, you know, everything's shifting. Like Brandon said about with Game of Thrones and stuff, it's like series are becoming more interesting to watch.
Yeah.
In most ways than movies because
are.
you can really develop characters. And so I think
I'm
you
really
know
starting to get
movies
connected
are-
with that Iron Fist character.
Yeah. I'll tell
not
you.
everybody's a winner.
I'll tell you the Dragon Ball thing too. We
give you
should
an
do a little
Iron
more
Fist.
research after this.
We should do
I'd
Dragon
like,
Ball. Actually,
Well, we should do Dragon Ball, but no. Here, I want to tell
No.
you this, Ben. Ben, it's terrible. And
Not again. No.
what came out afterwards because the director went out
Piccolo.
to like go on interviews just to kind of explain himself and
for Death Note.
no
Or
for
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball.
Okay.
And I hope they do the same for Death Note because here's what came out for Dragon Ball. He never once watched the series before accepting the job to direct. And he wanted to do it justice, but he had to like go after the fact, right? So he was an imposter fan, basically. Like, okay, I know this fan has this show has a fan base, and I want to do right to them. So let me do some research on it. You know what I mean? But never once as I actually like this.
Mario Brothers all over again.
I feel like this one was. I can't tell if they were fans or not
right,
because there
I
was
can't.
some like details.
I'm thinking
pulled
Jake
in.
might be
Yeah.
right.
There were some
they're
details that they
fans.
pulled in, but that like, wow, they did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then again, it's sort of like you lost the soul of what it really was.
And that's why I think there's no way they actually
Cramming
were
too much.
fans. They might not have even freaking watched it because if they did and they were fans, they didn't get it at all. They-
eats apples.
Right.
The guy eats apples.
guy-
back there.
it's
Did
just
you see
funny,
that? We
right.
gotta get that in.
Yeah, but
Yuck.
like, seriously, they didn't get it at all. Like, and it's not like I said, it's basic level philosophy. It's not hard to get, but I guess it can go over some people's heads.
I mean, they made it. Yeah, I mean, they made it lowest common
they
denominator.
did. They did.
So I think we're.
didn't like it.
Are we all in agreement that we would not?
No.
Seeing as
Don't-
Aaron,
don't
you don't
watch
even need
it.
to
Don't
finish
waste your
that
time. I
question.
was forced to watch this twice.
Why?
Here's what I would do.
One and a half
Go on
times for me.
YouTube.
I
go
should
on
be
YouTube
canonized by now.
and watch a super cut of the worst lines and
Yeah.
just have fun with that. 'Cause there were some really funny moments unintentionally in the film. The child abuse scene had me cracking up for quite a while.
It reminds me. That reminds me. The child reminds me of a Rodney Dangerfield joke. He goes, "Hey, I'm a victim of child abuse. Yeah, my kids beat the shit out of me."
And that's better than
here every
every single
Every
thing
Wednesday.
we've ever done.
Yep.
All right.
Every Wednesday.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, next week we've got it. That'll be really fun. We've got a short coming out. That's
Yes.
right, Aaron.
That's 3 hits.
We've got it next week. We've got Game Sharks still.
Pretty much every day because
Constant
we've been
stream every
recording
day,
1,000
so-
episodes.
Check all that out.
Can I say one thing to end us out here?
Yeah. Go
Are you
Because what-
plugging?
what?
Are you gonna plug?
I'm gonna plug your butthole. No.
How will I poop?
When they were on the Ferris wheel and they were falling, all I could think was, "Let die the woman you love."
Make your choice.
Holy
They
shit.
should have just done that.
They
In
should have
spite
done
of
that.
everything
Ryuk should have
you've
been
got,
on
though.
a little flyer.
In spite of everything, they,
Eventually, they will hate you. Dear God.
with great power comes great responsibility.
I can't do that voice
Honestly,
for long.
that's
They kind of did like the Spider-Man intro graphics thing
right.
with like the weird spikes. It kind of
Yep.
was like the webbing.
Oh,
Oh,
Okay,
jeez.
so
This
it's
movie
terrible.
sucked. Don't go see it.
Don't go see it. It was
Thanks for
terrible.
listening to us, though.
It was terrible.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks.